Hey, 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 it's Dr. Dawn, and welcome to Mystical Monday. Yay! It is so good to see all of you guys. These weeks go by and they go by so quickly. And before you know it, we're back again for some more mystical spiritual concepts. For those of you who are joining me for the first time, my name is Dr. Dawn. I am an intuitive guide and spiritual messenger. And what that means is I'm the go-between between the spiritual realm and the physical realm. I'm the one in the middle relaying messages from spirit to the collective. When I receive messages and downloads, I receive information that is pertinent and relevant to the advancement and movement forward of the collective as it relates to the ascension of the planet Earth, okay? So on Monday nights, I act as the go-between between spirit, which consists of divine beings of light, angels, spirit guides, God Almighty, and I provide messages to the collective. And then when I do one-on-one sessions, I work as the go-between between my clients and their spirit team, because we all know that we all have a spirit team assigned to us from the time that we're born until the time that we leave here, okay? Okay, so let's get into it this Monday night, this Mystical Monday. So I want you guys to first understand, let's get into this whole swing of things, and give ourselves like some placement in the now and where we are and what's happening in the now at this moment on the planet, okay? Let's first realize, okay, that we're in this 3D game, this third dimensional game here on planet Earth, and that our human bodies are acting as an avatar that is being manipulated by our higher selves, okay? There's a version of you that exists in a higher dimensional plane. Go figure. Did you know that? Yes, it is. And so that part of you is actually assisting and guiding you here in this physical earthly realm, okay? So all of us are here in this game, playing it with the hopes and goals of increasing the frequency and awareness, because as we increase our frequency and awareness in the game, we increase the frequency and awareness of the planet as a whole, the game board, if you will, the quantum field. We increase all of that when we increase the frequency and awareness of ourselves, our human avatars, okay? So one of the ways, or one of the big things that this game is based off of, which I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, but it's based off of the concept of unconditional love. Now, in our purest form, not in our human avatar, not even in this earthly dimensional realm, in the higher realms where we originate from, in our purest form, we are unconditional love. And so as you're playing this game, as you're navigating, as you're receiving divine guidance from your higher self, you are working to get back to a place of remembrance and connection to unconditional love. That is so difficult to do while you are on this 3D playing board, because there are so many bumps and valleys and hills, as you know, that we come across and experience during this whole life thing, right? That cause us to kind of move away from our awareness of being divine beings that are created and made up of unconditional love, all right? So let's look at unconditional versus conditional love, okay? In conditional love, there is an expectancy of something, okay? Meaning you are doing something to get something. In unconditional love, no expectations. We want to be more or less givers, okay? It's free of manipulation. We want to give, all right? So when we're down here, a lot of us think we love people unconditionally, but in actuality, for the most part, we kind of aren't, because a lot of times we expect for people to treat us like we treat them, right? So you may say, well, okay, that's only fair, right? But it's a fine line between that thought process and being conditional love, or basing a person's love off of a condition that you've set in place. Okay. So when you're navigating, like, understand when you're playing this game, every single thing that you encounter, every experience, every person, everything has the premise, the underlying premise of teaching, guiding, and showing and reminding and pulling you back to unconditional love. You guys, don't think of love. We always associate love in the category or aspect of a relationship, an intimate relationship. No, unconditional love is in all facets of our life. It's when you go to work. It's when you see people out on the street. It's when you watch television programs on the mass media. Like, it's everything that you do encompasses the foundation of unconditional love. So when we're in that mindset and awareness that part of the game is to, like, maneuver on the game board with a mindset of unconditional love, it helps you recognize the lessons that are being placed in front of you to show you that you're not operating or coming from a place of unconditional love. Okay. Love that is free of manipulation. All right. So keep that in mind. First and foremost, we are logged into Earth's 3D matrix. You're logged in. You're in the game right now, and the game is turned on, and you're logged in with your avatar playing the role of whatever part or role you've chosen prior to coming here, okay? Just like you do on Monopoly. You choose the piece that you want to play with on the game board. You did the same thing before you came here, okay? So as we're transmuting into our higher selves, because remember what I just said. I said we are in the 3D, third dimensional game, our avatars are, and our higher dimensional self is guiding, assisting, and helping to manipulate, move us around here on this grid as we transmute to our higher selves, meaning we're moving up through the game board to get as close and as possible to our original higher selves. The playing field changes. It moves as we move. This is the thing we call life, okay? And so when we are going through life, all right, we start to have certain experiences that are indicative of us receiving divine guidance and assistance, specifically divine guidance and assistance from your higher self. Your higher self is attached to you with a cord that you cannot see. You cannot see this cord. It is invisible to your human eyes. But as you start to transmute and start to increase in terms of your connection to your higher self, things that you can't see with these human eyes will start to become very present in your awareness. Okay? So as we are having our experience, all right, and we're starting to go through life, okay, we're receiving cues and assistance from our higher self that come in the form of synchronicities, because these are coming in hot right now. These synchronicities are coming in very, very hot right now. And these synchronicities are helping to encourage, to confirm, and to motivate us to keep moving along our path with an awareness for the meanings of these synchronicities that are helping you to establish and meet the lessons that are trying to be shown to you, that are pulling you back towards that place of unconditional love. Okay. For example, we all know and have been conditioned to the phrase forgive and forget, right? Well, I'm going to tell you something that's a little bit different than that phrase. Forgive, absolutely yes. Part of your development of how to put yourself in a place of unconditional love. Always forgive, 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 forgive. If not for the other person, for yourself. Remember, always for yourself and your soul's evolution and awareness and journey. But what I'm going to tell you is don't forget, because guess what? In that forgiveness moment, that experience that caused you to have to forgive was a lesson that you don't want to forget. Because if you forget that lesson, what happens? We repeat it. We repeat it in a karmic cycle. Okay, so let's forgive, but we ain't gonna forget the lesson. Once we forgive, we're going to point out and pull out the lesson that we got from that experience, and then we're not gonna forget it. Okay, we're going to store it so that when or if it comes into our path again, we will respond accordingly. We may respond a little differently the next time. Okay, all right. Next, when you're getting this guidance from your higher self that I said comes in the form of synchronicities, you may have multiple opportunities that come your way, just to see which way you're going to go. Are you going to go right or are you going to go left? Are you going to honor or move into the part of your higher self, which is giving you guidance in a higher dimension, or are you going to move in the direction of your ego, which is more associated and attached with your human avatar, third dimensional earthly body, okay, and experience? And so when you have these experiences that are coming your way, because again, remember, your higher self is always guiding you on this third dimensional game board. When you have these experiences that are coming in, you're usually going to get them in the form of, I want to say, like, we don't want to say role playing, but an experience. Okay, we'll say an experience. Now, here's the thing. During all of this, now that we're becoming more aware, we're becoming aware of a thing called downloads. Let's get into the downloads, and then we can get back into like the lessons and the choices that we make and so forth and so on. Okay, we've talked about downloads before, but let me go back into that, because a lot of people still, everybody uses downloads in a different context and place of understanding and awareness. So for the sake of this, I'm going to say that downloads are information that you receive, okay, from the higher realms. Downloads are actually information that come from your Akashic records. Are we familiar with the Akashic records? Every soul that comes to the planet Earth has an Akashic record, meaning it entails and holds all of the journeys of your soul that your soul has had prior to this incarnation on the planet Earth. Remember, I'm always telling you guys that your soul is made up of so many imprints. All of these imprints are experiences that you've had lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Well, these experiences are not just held in your soul, they're kept in the Akashic records, and they're closely watched under lock and key by your spirit team, okay? And so your Akashic records obtain or have all of the information that your soul has had previously, as well as what it's going to be doing while it's here this go round. Because remember, what you're doing now is in relation to what your soul has done in previous lifetimes past. The more aware that you get of this, okay, the more frequent that the downloads come, the more vivid that the downloads come, and the more clarity you get with the downloads, okay? Because downloads are meant to assist you in multiple different ways, okay? More often than not, they are meant to assist you down the path towards your higher self, a remembrance of your higher self, okay? There's usually two paths you can go in this experience here, as I just mentioned, the path of your higher self or the path of your ego. We go back and forth throughout our time here. We go back and forth between the path of our ego and our higher self throughout our entire incarnation here. Okay, that's why we call it repeated karmic cycles, because we're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm giving you guys a lot of terms. Okay, so when we talk about karmic cycles, we talk about, okay, the situations in your Akashic records that are being put into place during this earthly experience that are set up to align your soul with the lesson that is needed so that it can advance in its awareness and its frequency and its close proximity to returning to unconditional love, closer proximity to returning to unconditional love. So when we have these, you can tell when you're on the path of your ego, like when you're moving in a direction that is not in alignment with your higher self or the downloads coming from your Akashic records. You know when you're moving in an opposite direction of that when you are experiencing suffering, okay? Mental, emotional, physical suffering, or you're having blockages. Blockages are the big key. Blockages are your higher self's way of saying, warning, warning, you know, something needs to change. Something needs to change. Be aware, be alert, you know, get into the now and understanding, check what is happening and make adjustments accordingly. Okay. So a karmic cycle you'll know you're in, I'm giving you examples of when you'll know you're in a karmic cycle. Okay. When you're repeating a lesson, because we just haven't gotten the choice that we should make. I don't want to say correctly because there is no correct or incorrect, but there's just a repetition of energy patterns and sequences. Okay. So one of the ways you'll know is because you'll be having blockages. And the other thing will be your synchronicities will stop. Okay. I told you guys, synchronicities are kind of the way that the universe or your higher self lets you know, yes, you're on the right track. Keep going, keep moving. Got you. Yay. Encouraging, pushing, sending you love and light. Yay, 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 yay. Synchronicities will sometimes or often come in the form of repeated numbers. As long as you guys are seeing those repeated numbers, you're seeing the 111, 222, 12, 12, 13, 13, 14, 14, 15, 15, 67, 67, whatever repeats, or you're seeing number sequences that are ascending, descending, you know, you're in the flow. You're in the flow because those numbers are representing synchronicity in your life. Synchronicities can also be actual physical manifestations of your thoughts, synchronized things happening in that moment based upon your thought. All of this is a sign from your higher self that you're in the flow. The karmic cycle is moving forward. You're moving out of it. You're making progress. You're moving. When you don't have any of this, the numbers have stopped. Nothing is like catching. I mean, your thoughts are not showing in your reality, or nothing is connecting or clicking. Ooh, guess what? We might be in a repeated karmic cycle. We're repeating something for a reason. Okay. If you're not receiving messages, because a lot of times when you're like not in the karmic cycle and you're flowing and you're moving, you're getting all kind of messages. You're getting direction. You're like, something told me I should go to work at 10 instead of 8. Or something told me that it was going to snow on Wednesday and I should maybe make sure my boots, you know, I got my boots out and ready. You know, so when you're not getting messages, you're not getting synchronicities, you're getting blockages, you're not feeling connected, you feel as if you're suffering, you feel like you are in a karmic cycle of some sort. Some lesson is trying to bring itself to your awareness that you are in the repetition mode of being. Okay. All right. Another way that you know your karmic cycle is repeating is because you can't manifest. Now, I use that one loosely because some people are trying to manifest like millions and big things and, you know, things that are taking a little bit of time. It doesn't actually mean, well, it kind of does mean you're in a karmic cycle if you haven't manifested it yet. But if you're having difficulty manifesting anything, be it on a big, what you consider a big scale or a low scale, you may consider going, okay, I'm in a karmic cycle of some sort. Let me sit back and reflect and kind of see what's happening in my life right now and what is happening that is repetitive or seems to be something that is ongoing in my life. Let me do a check-in real quick. Okay. So remember, you're getting, okay, all of this is tying together because remember, you're down here, you're playing the game. Okay. You are getting guidance from your higher self to your human avatar. All right. Your human avatar is sending you guidance in the form of like synchronicities, sending you things in the form of messages. When you feel like you're not getting all of this, you're feeling like nothing is coming in, you're not seeing anything, you're not in any state of awareness, nothing's happening, then you are probably in a karmic cycle. And for a lot of people who are not awakened or even aware of what I'm talking about, they're not even at that point yet. The karmic cycles are repetitive and repeating because they still aren't aware that a karmic cycle even exists, that whole concept is even existing. But for those of you who are in this with an awareness, this helps you tenfold because you now know how to make adjustments when needed, when you're seeing the absence of some of these signs that your higher self will send you to let you know you're flowing and you're moving in the direction of your soul's journey based upon your Akashic records and what your soul is here to accomplish, okay? So look, so when you are in the flow, meaning you're getting the downloads, you're hearing the connection between your higher self and your physical avatar, the flow is there, okay? Things are flowing easy. You're learning lessons quickly, meaning as soon as they happen, you can spot them and you go, ooh, I shouldn't have did that. Let me backtrack, turn around, do it differently. Make a note of it. Okay, got it. Moving on. You're in that kind of a mind state. You're not going, I don't know what the lessons are. I'm meditating every day and my chakras, I'm clearing my chakras, but I just don't know why I can't find a meaningful relationship or anybody that'll treat me like I want to treat them. When you're doing all that, you're in a cycle. You are definitely in a cycle. For sure, because you are relying on something external, such as clearing your chakras, doing all that to be the end all, when that is the enhancement, okay? Going within and identifying these things is the thing that clears and moves you in the cycle. The other properties that happen in terms of like Reiki healing or meditations, those are supplementative. They augment your inner work. You're going within, your ability to hear information, okay? Guidance. And so when you're in the flow and you're starting to harness your energy in the direction of your awareness to your soul's journey, you're going to start finding yourself grounding and bringing in some form of abundance. Now, when we think abundance, we think so big. We think we have to have a lot of something. Abundance doesn't have to necessarily mean a whole lot of something. Abundance could just be a feeling of happiness that has come from an awareness that you got this thing. You got it now, and you're seeing through it, and you're now identifying things that are holding you and stopping you and keeping you in a place of stagnation. That is abundance, because that's abundant knowledge and wisdom, because you have come into this awareness that's going to increase your happiness. Happiness first, and then manifestation. Happiness first, and then wealth. Happiness first, and then movement towards unconditional love and awareness. Okay? So remember, on this game board, the entire point of the game is to get you back to a place of unconditional love, because when you come out the womb, through the portal, out of the womb, you step into this conditionally based world and game board. That's the whole game board is based off conditions. You guys know that. Everything is a condition. All right. Now, who is getting a stiff neck lately? Guess what? When you get the downloads, you usually get the downloads at the base of your skull, right here in the back of your skull. People think you get it here in the third eye, but it's back here, usually at the base of your skull. These downloads, when they come, they're usually fast and full of content. And so now in the energy that we're in, and not just now, but usually at the beginning of awakenings, when people usually first start awakening, you will have stiff necks and shoulders, which are becoming more prevalent now because of the downloads that we're getting. The more frequency of the downloads and the amount of information in the downloads is causing us all to wake up with a stiff neck, or a crook in your neck, as I grew up learning to call it. If you're having these instances in your neck, it should go away by the end of the day, because they're kind of like, it's energy downloaded from, usually when you sleep, it comes hot and heavy for real. You can get downloads all day, but when you sleep is when they overload you. When I say they, I mean your higher self, the spiritual realm, guides, spiritual guides and beings that are assisting you in this evolution, they give it all to you, usually at night, because you're in such a relaxed state that the information can come on through and be downloaded without interruption. So if you're waking up with a stiff neck and shoulders lately, you're getting a lot of downloads, okay? And then a lot of you are probably saying, well, what are the downloads? Because I'm not remembering them. Yes, you are. Yes, you are in your waking state. You're not always cognizant of the downloads until they are put into action or put into place. So like today, I have to, when I come up with these topics for my lives, I rely solely on the downloads. I am looking to the downloads to guide me, to guide you guys. So what I do is when I wake up, I never know exactly what it is. I have to go about my day a little bit, start moving, getting in the flow. And when I get a thought out of nowhere that has nothing to do with what I'm doing, or I am drawn visually to a concept or a topic, or I hear something, or I know that it is my higher self guiding me to the content that has come to me prior to me doing this in the form of a download. And so everything I'm telling you guys is a download, information from a download that I've received. And so I used to like run and scramble and write these things down so I don't forget them and, you know, make sure I'm covering everything. I don't have to do that anymore, because literally when I'm sitting here, it's almost like when I get the downloads, they're stored because I set the intention, since this is what I'm doing as my purpose and path is giving downloaded information to the collective. I set the intention with my higher self, my spirit team, as well as this human avatar, that I am going to store all of the necessary information that is needed until it is time for me to share it. So when I'm sitting here talking to you guys will sometimes see, sometimes I hesitate or I stumble or I pause, because when I'm done with one thought, I'm telling myself, my higher self telepathically, okay, what's next? And I'm waiting for the next piece of information. When you get to that point, you're totally dependent on divine guidance and downloads, you know you're moving in the fifth dimension, because the fifth dimension is where you are more connected, or you're moving towards your higher self for guidance. Remember, the third dimension, we're in the ego. The ego is what guides us and what leads us and gives us our conditioning. As you move towards the fifth, you're moving in an awareness and connection to your higher self, a dependency more on your higher self than this ego self, than this third dimension human self. Did y'all see how I did that? When I talked about third dimension and fifth dimension, I changed my voice. Like higher, I made my voice higher, and then I came down low. When I talked about the third, look at how I did that. That wasn't right. I shouldn't have made that big of a distinction, but energetically, that's how it feels to me. When I'm talking about the fifth, I'm here and I'm quick and I'm fast and I'm done. And then when I'm in the third, it's slow and it's heavy and it's deep, you know, so the energy even feels different for me talking about and moving back and forth between the third and the fifth. You're probably experiencing that also, okay? But I wanted to make sure I brought up the stiff necks and the shoulders, because everybody's getting that right now. My husband, he can't figure it out. He's like, he's bought different pillows. He's like done slept in different positions. And I'm like, you got to download. And he was like, I didn't get a download because I would have remembered something. People are not consciously aware of the downloads, like I said, until you're in a situation where the information from the download is needed. And then you go, oh, something told me, or, oh, I don't know what made me do blah, blah, blah. It comes when it is needed to come. But you got to be aware when it happens, it was a download coming to the forefront, okay? A download that you have received in your sleep. All right. Okay. It's good stuff, right? Because look, as we evolve, as we get more aware, more connected to the grid and the game board and the rules of the game, of how it's played, all of this stuff is like literally we're pulling back the veil and the curtains going, oh my God, this is what's been going on behind here all these years and all these centuries. Go figure, right? It's heavy for some. It is so difficult for some people to grasp hold on and accept this concept that they would just as soon step back, stay away, and stay in, I don't want to say darkness, but stay in an unawareness. And that's okay, because you got to understand what comes with all of this awareness, right? It's not all sunshine and roses and flowers and love and light. It is not all of that. The realization that everything that you've known to be true and believed and felt and saw through these eyes was all just a game. It's all just again. That is traumatizing for some. It was traumatizing for me. I mean, I got over it, but initially, very traumatizing. And so I almost went into a state of shutting down, because I said, well, hell, if it's just a game, I might as well just sit here and do nothing. Like, what? Why even go through all of this if it's just a game? Like, what's the point? I kind of got mad, and then once again, my higher self said, Dawn, don't get caught up in the ego. Pull yourself out of it. Come back to that place of unconditional love. Come back to that place of love that you have for wanting to assist during this time of ascension on the planet Earth. You volunteered to play this game because you've played it before. You've got a lot of experience in doing it. You even offered to be one of the ones that awakened early so that you could assist others, because you were so aware of the illusion that was here on earth, and you wanted to help and assist others in their awakening and awareness, and simultaneously assist the planet. Okay, I got that whole spiel, and at one point I still was like, but so, like, I still don't feel like doing that. That's a lot of work just to be in a game that's not even real. And, I went back and forth with that. But ultimately, remember, my Akashic records have gotten every single journey in my file that my soul has taken. And my Akashic records are constantly feeding information to me and through me as it relates to why I came here and what I said or agreed that I would do while I was here. And as the Akashic records kept bringing more and more of this to my remembrance, with my higher self assisting, the more I stepped into the alignment and flow of being an intuitive guide and spiritual messenger during this time of ascension, because now it started to resonate with me, and it felt like it was my purpose, and it felt like a remembrance to me of what I'm here to do and what I'm supposed to be doing during this time. That's what will more than likely happen to all of you. You're going to have that feeling, that connection to the guidance that you're getting as it relates to your purpose and what you're doing. It's going to resonate. If it doesn't resonate, then it hasn't become clear to you all the way yet. Okay? Because you're going to get information throughout this journey that just doesn't click with you, because it may not be specific to you and your purpose and why you're here. I get information all the time. It doesn't resonate with me. And that's okay. You just take it and do with it what you will. Throw it out if you don't need it. But keep the information that does resonate, because it is a piece of the puzzle to your life and purpose here during this time. You're going to keep getting little pieces from different places, be it through people like me on social media, through materials that you may come across that you read, or workshops or seminars that you attend, or experiences that you have. All these pieces are connecting, okay? And in alignment with your Akashic records that are trying to move you to a place of awareness and connection, okay, towards your evolution. So take what resonates and leave what doesn't. It is not a one size fit all approach to ascension and evolution of a soul. There is no way. That's why when we do our self-discovery and we start our self-journey, we sometimes move away from being specific to one religion, because we realize that there's truth in all of the religions, because they're all based off of different beings' experiences, okay? And we can have a connection to all the religions because they all have things that resonate with us, and then they have things that don't. And that's the way, that's okay, that's all right. but it's our human egoic conditioned state of being that tells us you have to claim one and you have to act the way that the one tells you to act, or you're out of alignment, and nothing's going to be the way it should, because you got to follow the one. We're moving out of that, though. We're slowly but surely moving out of the conditioning that we have to belong to a one-stop approach to our evolution and our soul's awareness here on the planet. We're moving away from that because we're evolving, right? The game board is changing. The pieces on the board are changing. The places on the board are changing. So we are having to change, okay? All right, so I want all of you to realize that you are constantly in connection with the higher dimensions in your sleep state and your wake state. In your sleep state, we talked about downloads that you guys are getting, hot and heavy, very frequent, with a lot of content. And then in our waking state, you guys are constantly connected to the higher dimensions because you're seeing and feeling and perceiving things very differently now than you did before. Remember before, and I have to admit, I told you guys this too, the push was to remove people, things, places that no longer serve you. Remove them, get them out of your way if they're blocking you, pulling your vibration down, making you not feel in alignment. Okay, well, guess what? That has kind of changed a little bit, in that you don't have to get rid of any of that stuff, because guess what? Your perception is now going to perceive these things from such a higher dimensional state of being that you're going to recognize that these people, things, places, ideas, concepts are in the third, and you're going to see them in the third dimension. So therefore, that means you can actually tolerate being around or involved in or immersed in this stuff, because you're now perceiving all of this differently. And so the difference in frequency and vibration doesn't affect you, because you're seeing it from a third dimensional standpoint, and you're feeling it now from a fifth dimensional standpoint, so it doesn't disrupt you. So you don't literally have to say, okay, you know what? I'm tired of this person. I'm done. Don't talk to me again. I don't want to see you again. I don't want you in my life. Leave me alone. You don't have to do all that. You don't have to do all that. When you are in your fifth dimensional way of awareness and thinking, your perception of, in the example I just gave you, that person's actions or state of being no longer disrupt your flow, because you see them for what they are: third dimensional, operating from the ego, possibly in a karmic cycle. More than likely they are in a karmic cycle, repeating over and over and over again to get their awareness to shift them into a place of a new reality. You can see that. So you can just watch it now with less emotion and feeling attached to it. I'm constantly, when people get so disrupted and so upset at other people because of the where they are, then I always say, you got to look at yourself and where you are in your shift. And I had to do that to myself just yesterday, because I allowed someone, a family member, get to me so much that I lost my state of awareness for a second. And then I pulled myself back and said, what are you doing? Why are you disrupting your happiness and your flow? Because that person is in a repeated karmic cycle. I recognized the cycle they were in. I literally pulled myself back, removed any lower thoughts or energetic frequencies that I was feeling attached to that person. And I moved on and let it go and let it go. And so that's what you're going to find yourself doing. That's why I said we struggle sometimes between the path of the ego and the higher self. We go back and forth, because we have to sometimes have these moments where we sit back, reflect, take note, and then pull ourselves out of what we're in and move us into our place of connecting more with our higher self than our ego. Your ego is always, as long as you're in this human body, that ego is going to exist. It's how you respond to it that makes you or helps you in your ascension and evolution. Okay? Be aware of it and how you respond to it. Remember, we forgive, but we don't forget, because we need to remember the lessons that we learned from that experience. But we're going to remember them from a place of detachment of the emotion associated with them originally, because we're now aware that sometimes that experience is brought on because that person is in a repeated karmic cycle, and they've got to continue to experience and be how they are and what they're going through to get them to a place of awareness. But it ain't your job to get them there. You cannot make somebody aware of who they are and where their soul is if they are not aware, or if they are not even seeking any assistance or awareness from you. That's where we get lost too. We continue to offer it when it ain't when nobody asked us. Remember that too, because that's often what keeps us from evolving. When you continuously find yourself in a place of trying to move somebody else in their cycle, you're stuck in a karmic cycle yourself. You're stuck in a karmic cycle of fear of evolving, okay, without the collective. That's the only reason you push for other people to evolve, is because you're afraid to evolve and be outside of the norm. So you want everybody else to be there. You don't realize that, but that's your underlying motivation for trying to awaken and move other people forward, because you're afraid. You're afraid of being the outsider. So when you find yourself trying to awaken and move somebody forward, check and look at your ego, pull it back, get out of that place of fear and awareness, and get into your state of awareness that that person is going through a karmic cycle that they should be allowed to go through without interruption from you. Okay. All right. So we have covered some information now as it relates to the game board, reviewing about the third dimensional game board, reviewing your constant connection on the game board with your human avatar and your higher self avatar. There's a version of you in a higher dimension that is assisting and guiding and directing and talking to you, okay? Remember, at all times, you're always connected. We also went through a download, what the downloads are, when you get them a day and night. Nighttime is when you get the most, because you're in a relaxed sleep state of being and you can receive more information. Remember, when you wake up with that stiff neck, sore shoulders, you got a crook in your neck, as I call it, you probably more than likely received a massive download the night before. It's okay. Don't try to figure it out what it was. It will reveal itself in the situation and experience where it is needed, okay? Also, we remember that we went through signs that we're in a karmic cycle and that we're repeating, and the universe and our higher self is trying to get our attention and awareness so we can make some changes. Remember, we said when we're in that cycle, we will feel as if we're suffering. We'll feel as if we're having blockages. We'll feel as if we're not in the flow. Our synchronicities have stopped. We're not seeing repeated numbers. We're not getting guidance. We're not getting direction. And we're not feeling as if we're able to manifest anything on a high, low, big, small level, anything, okay? We're in a karmic cycle and we need to sit back, reflect, and see what it is being shown to us that is repeated, that we need to make some adjustments accordingly, okay? Remember that as you start to hone into your energy, you're going to feel the need to always stay grounded. When you feel the need to stay grounded, that means you're always going to feel like, oh, I don't feel right. I want to get back to feeling right. And so you're always going to be directed to do things that make you feel right or feel grounded, like exercising, reading, doing yoga, whatever gets you to feeling right, which is AKA grounded. All right. You may be encouraged to eat different foods that make you feel good. You may be encouraged to move more in a direction of being around people that make you feel good. Okay. This is all a part of your avatar and your higher self directing you towards things that will help you be grounded. All right. Remember, you guys, you are in this multi-dimensional matrix, meaning you are in this human state of being here on the planet Earth, but you have multiple dimensions of awareness and assistance beyond what you are experiencing here on this planet. Okay. Always keep that in mind. All right. This has been Mystical Monday, right? We got really mystical with it tonight. We got into our human avatars and our connections to our higher self. Some of you, this may be a review, but I don't know about you. The more I hear about this kind of stuff over and over and over again, it takes on a different meaning, has a different level of significance because what? My awareness is different each time I hear it. And that's what you guys are going to experience. You may hear information that you've heard before, but now it means something different to you because your frequency is different. And so now your perception is different. Always keep that in mind. You can never hear the same thing too much because each time you hear it, it's being brought to you because now you're going to perceive it differently because of your awareness, okay? All right. For those of you who are interested in one-on-one sessions with me, please visit my website at www.discoveringyourinnerlight.com. I am available for one-on-one coaching sessions. They are 1 hour long, and we cover a lot of information as it relates to your current journey and information that is received from your spirit team through me, the go-between, right? So make sure you look into that. If this information resonates with you or you enjoy joining me here on Mystical Mondays, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Need all of you to collectively assist me so that I can collectively get the information out to those on the planet who are in need or who want this information. Feel free to leave me comments down below. I love to get the comments or questions, and I respond to all of them. I try to get to all of them, you guys, because I enjoy the interaction with you guys. This is what I signed up for, but you got to give it to me. I'm giving my energy out to you guys. You guys pour it back into me with your continued interaction, participation, and presence here on this channel, okay? It has been a pleasure being with you guys. Have a good rest of your night or day, and I will see you next Monday for Mystical Monday right here on YouTube at Discovering Your Inner Light. Everybody take care. Bye-bye.